This room used to be an operational patient room.
I saw that something besides people were there.
Where did you come from?
Patients would see a little boy. They ended up dying within 24 hours.
I am seeing an alarming amount of blood.
There was a dark shadow that appeared to take like a human shape.
I was so shook, and I was so scared.
You've literally been torn out.
Maybe he's more than just an omen of death. Maybe he's the cause of death.
This is one of the most disturbing cases I've ever heard of in my 25 years as a paranormal investigator.
It's 2017 in a bustling Pennsylvania city. Working the night shift at a large hospital's psychiatric ward is recently hired psychiatric technician Brittany Finch.
My passion was to help people that struggle. My family is directly impacted by mental illness. I wanted to get into something where I felt like I made a difference. A lot of people that are brought into psych are at their lowest point. And then seeing them progressively get better is so fulfilling, it's so rewarding to feel like you're making a positive impact on somebody that lost all hope.
Working alongside Brittany this evening is fellow psychiatric technician Alex Heidbreder.
Brittany and I have been friends for about 2 years now, and a job like that where you really have to go through some difficult situations together, you form an unbreakable bond. You have to rely on that person. You have to trust them to always have your back walking into any situation.
As the hospital's newest employee, Brittany is getting used to the building. And tonight, she's sent to a storage room she's never been in before.
This room used to be an operational patient room. Now it was used as a storage closet that had TVs, our neonatal cart. This is also where we kept our vital machines, things of that nature. And when I walked in the very first time, I heard like just this banging.
As the banging sounds dissipate, Brittany's curiosity about the room's history continues to grow.
Prior to me working in the psychiatric ward, it used to be a normal room that we held patients in. And we're really backed up. These people need help, these people need a room. It would just make more sense to have this room open.
How's it going?
It's good. Quiet.
Yeah.
Once the banging stops, Brittany decides to ask Alex about the room.
Patients never did well in there.
But, like, what happens?
We just never had any luck with patients in this room.
I asked Alex, hey, why isn't this room used anymore as a patient room? We could really use it. And she said, we just don't put patients in there. We just never had any luck having patients in this room.
Later that night, Brittany is on her rounds.
I heard a scream. And it was a scream that was, I'm in trouble.
I heard it too. Sorry. Sorry.
I was doing a block check, and I heard somebody yell, "Help!" And immediately you just react. You're like, somebody is trying to hurt themselves or something is going on.
I think it came from down there.
It sounded like it came from the end of the hallway. Brittany opened the door that it sounded like it came from. The patient was sleeping. I checked the door down the hall. He was sound asleep. We saw a door slam, and we knew that door should have been locked.
And then we heard screaming.
Did you scream?
No, I wasn't screaming. I was sleeping.
We went to check in every single room to make sure, is everybody okay? Nothing was there.
Nobody is awake, and we could not find the source of the yelling.
There's something going on in this place.
I know.
The next night, Alex is once again working with Brittany, who braces herself for another visit to the storage room.
I went to this room because we had a female patient that was around 7 months pregnant in our care. And I needed to go make sure the neonatal cart was up and running just in case. The neonatal cart is in this empty room that used to be a patient's room. And I was walking down pretty slowly. It had been a really long day. I had been working 16 hours. Two hands push me.
At the psych ward of a large Pennsylvania hospital, psychiatric technicians Brittany Finch and Alex Heidbreder hear a series of mysterious noises and discover that a room with a dark past is inhabited by a malevolent entity.
It was an angry shove, that it was so forceful. Whatever shoved me wanted me to fall. I looked behind me and nothing was there. The scariest part about this shove was how real it felt. It almost felt like real human hands. They weren't cold, they weren't warm, but the pressure that I felt from this shove was two hands pressing into me hard. That was one of the most terrifying things I've ever experienced in my entire life. I got out of there as quick as I could. I hightailed it back to the nurse's station.
Are you okay?
No.
She came to me with just panic and fear all over her face.
I can't take this anymore. There's something in that room. I felt it.
I told her that I believed her, that I believed 100% that there was something in that room.
Brittany, listen to me. There's something you should know about that room.
Alex reveals the dark history behind the storage room.
Alex told me this room was not used because somebody killed themselves in that room.
I physically had to go in and lift his body up while he was hanging to cut him down. After that, we had many more attempted suicides in that room.
There are a number of things we do in intense states of desperation. With suicides, I think we just drive ourselves off those cliffs without any help from spirit. But it is possible for a spirit to negatively influence us and cause pain and harm.
As the night continues, Alex takes the next round.
I definitely had that innate feeling of fear that something creepy was around. And when I would do my checks going down the hall, it would always feel like somebody's watching me, somebody was following me down the hall, even though everybody was asleep. It was just this constant, creepy feeling that something besides people were there. I saw this very dark, almost human shape.
Hello?
It seemed to just disappear into the back supply room. I don't know what it was.
Several hours pass without incident until an unusual sound comes from the seclusion room.
We had a troubled patient that was having behavioral problems, and they were put in seclusion. We left the door open because we were having a lot of self-injurious behaviors. Me and Alex are sitting at the nurse's station watching the cameras that are pointed in the seclusion room, and we're making sure this patient's okay. All of a sudden, this door slams shut on its own.
Was that the seclusion room?
It sounded like it.
It is a heavy, heavy door because it has to withstand somebody banging on it and trying to get out of that room. We could see him on the camera not getting up. Something else slammed that door very loud.
What the hell is that?
Do you see that?
Oh my God. Oh my God, do you see that? Do you see what I'm seeing?
Yes.
What the f is that?
We looked on the camera and there was a dark shadow that appeared to take like a human shape, walk over towards his mattress and stand over him and look down on him.
Look, he's alone. We have to help him.
Okay, let's go.
We'd go into the room and there was nothing there. He was still sound asleep, like nothing had happened to him. It was a very intense night for the both of us, and just being the only two on that side, we felt like, okay, if we say this to anybody, Are they going to believe us? Should we keep it to ourselves? Didn't seem to be very dangerous at the moment, and we figured if we called somebody else over, they might think that we were crazy.
After the events of that terrifying night, several months pass without incident.
It was quiet. It was almost like he was gone. And then he came back with a vengeance.
As part of her nightly duties, Brittany must once again return to the haunted supply closet.
This room for nursing was used pretty frequently. It was a grueling day, and I was walking down this hallway. It was so silent. It was so silent that all I heard was my scrubs rubbing back and forth. And I was so tired that I could barely pick up my feet. I am seeing this pool of blood on the floor that is an alarming amount of blood. This door is locked. How is this blood even possible? My heart is just racing, and I'm questioning my own sanity at that point.
At a large hospital in Pennsylvania, psychiatric technicians Alex Heidbreder and Brittany Finch are tormented by a menacing spirit that may have escaped from a former patient's room, now used as a supply closet. Tonight, Brittany has been confronted with a pool of blood.
I was completely terrified. I logically really wanted to run myself through it and be like, where is this coming from? So I did a sweep of the room. I went behind the neonatal cart. I went all around this room to make sure that nobody was hurt, that nobody needed assistance, and nobody was in there. And I said logically to myself, there's no way that there's a patient in this room. It's impossible. It's a locked room. It hasn't been used for years. This is blood. I'm looking at this blood. It is red. I mean, it is dark red. And I've seen so much blood in the years of my employment that I know what blood looks like. Blood was gone. It was no longer there. This is unreal. I was speechless. I was completely speechless. I'm like, what is going on? What is wrong with me? The first question I said is, what is wrong with me? Because I had seen this pool of blood and it had disappeared before my eyes.
Are you okay?
No.
What's wrong?
I just saw blood in the patient room. It was on the floor, and it was this big pool of blood.
She just looked completely terrorized and like she had just seen something like terrible, like a murder almost.
It was so real.
All I could do was just sit there and say, whatever you saw is not there now. It's going to be okay.
I feel like I'm going crazy.
It's okay. I believe you.
With her shift nearly over, Brittany does one final round before she can put this grueling day behind her.
I made sure that I checked on every single patient.
Hi, Brittany.
This one particular patient just liked to shower at like 2, 3 in the morning. Everybody else was sleeping, but I made sure I went in every room and I checked to make sure that everybody was okay. I came back to room 1. This tall, terrifying, dark shadow figure of a man was standing in the corner. I mean, I saw him clear as day. It was just so terrifying to me. I mean, I lost my breath. His arms were long, his fingers were long. What terrified me the most was there wasn't a face.
Leave my patients alone!
I told the shadow man, I need you to leave me and I need you to leave my patients alone. He was gone.
Sorry. It's nothing. It's okay. Go back to sleep. It's okay. It's okay.
I was so shook and I was so scared.
I can't take this anymore.
She just looked on the verge of breaking down because she saw something that terrified her so much.
I can't take this anymore.
I was scared to go to work. I've never experienced a feeling of driving to work and enjoying the job so much and wanting to help this population so much, yet being scared for my own safety.
Unable to cope with the activity any longer, Brittany leaves her job. Soon after, the psychiatric ward is moved to a different hospital and the space is turned into offices.
The activity really slowed down once we started to move out of the hospital because that unit was closing. And it seemed to really mellow out, like whatever activity was happening seemed to understand that its time was limited. There wasn't going to be that deep emotional trauma that the patients gave off that negative energy to feed on.
I truly, truly believe that this dark figure directly affected every single patient on that wing.
This dark entity might be siphoning the energy off these victims. It's causing them to think thoughts of hopelessness and despair, just further making them vulnerable so it can claim their soul.
It's 100% real. I know from so many experiences that it is real. And at the end of the day, people don't have to believe us because we know what we saw.
And we can rely on each other to validate that.
Yes, it's absolutely validated.
It's 2004 in a small city near Alabama's Gulf Coast. New to this local hospital's intensive care unit is Nurse Beth Wilson.
I loved ICU. To see a patient go from being so sick on a ventilator, tons of drips, we're actually keeping them alive to the point where they get better and then they walk out is just incredible. It was an old hospital. It was a little darker. The ceilings were a little lower. You could feel the history. When people have been in an area for so long, when you've had patients that are born there, when you've had people die there, you can just feel the energy. Sometimes it was just an oppressive, heavy feeling.
Apparently that little ghost boy's been mucking about again. I noticed because I was checking on that lady in 114.
She said she saw him too.
When I started on night shift, people like to talk about the ghost stories, or they like to talk about things that they had seen or things that they had heard. I was taking care of a woman who was elderly. She had had a stroke. She was very sick, and we were doing what's called comfort care, which means that her family had made the decision that we weren't going to prolong her life. So we all knew that she was dying.
Where did you come from?
Every hour I'd go in and get vital signs, and we would talk.
Hi, Olivia.
There's a boy on the ward. Don't you see him?
And she said, "Who's that little boy that keeps coming to my door?"
Who?
I said, "Tell me about him. What does he do?" And she said, "He just comes to my door and he just stares at me and then he walks away."
There's nothing there.
Having a patient who had had a stroke, I did try to find some scientific explanation for it.
No, don't you see him?
Hallucinations being the first thing that I thought of.
It's okay. It's all right. Shh, it's okay. He's not gonna bother you. It's all right. You're okay, all right, Olivia? Just get some sleep.
The hospital pediatric ward is on a different floor, so Beth and her staff are baffled by the patient's sightings of a little boy.
Have you seen him?
No, I don't want to.
Other patients would see a little boy. They ended up dying within 24 hours. So a couple of hours later, I go in and we're talking.
Hi.
She takes my hand and she looks at me and she said,
"When I'm gone, I want you to take care of Bruce."
I got chills. I had this nervous feeling in my stomach because my dad's name is Bruce.
You look just like him.
I was trying to be rational, and I thought, there's no way. She doesn't know my dad. I'm sure she's just talking about a relative.
Hi there. This is Beth, a nurse from the hospital.
Oh, hi.
When I talked to her daughter, I asked her,
Did you have a brother named Bruce or anyone named Bruce in your family?
Bruce? No, I don't know anybody named Bruce.
and she said, no, I don't know anybody named Bruce. When she said that, I felt sick. I felt sick to my stomach.
I never heard of him.
Okay, thank you. Sorry to bother you.
No problem. Bye.
It made me fearful, gave me a knot in my stomach, thinking, do I need to call my dad immediately? Do I need to check on him now?
The next night, Beth arrives for her shift to some disturbing news.
Hi. What's wrong?
Beth, I'm sorry, Olivia. She passed away earlier on the day shift.
I got this icy feeling through my body. The patient said, I saw the little boy. Less than 16 hours later, she had passed away. She had given me that warning about my dad. And all I could think was I need to watch out for him.
Thanks. Mom?
Beth, your father's in emergency.
My dad was admitted to the hospital.
What? Here?
Yes.
They thought he was having a heart attack.
Bye.
I gotta go.
Maybe it is this little boy.
Intensive care nurse Beth Wilson hears troubling stories of a little boy.
Where did you come from?
That appears before patients who are about to die. One such patient
Take care of Bruce.
gives her a disturbing omen about her father.
Beth, your father's in emergency.
What? Here?
Yes.
I gotta go.
Who soon after winds up in the hospital himself.
They thought he was having a heart attack.
I'm here, Dad.
He was gray, he was ashen, his blood pressure was low, they were having trouble waking him up.
I'm with you.
It turned out he was bleeding internally. The patient had given me that warning about my dad. And then, of course, I'm wondering, was the little boy giving this message? That really scared me.
It's long been understood that the closer one gets to death, the closer we also get to the spirit world. And it's as if a veil is being slowly lifted away from our eyes as we approach that moment of final transition. So it's not at all unusual for patients to suddenly become lucid and hold conversations, meaningful conversations, with people that aren't there. They also seem to have access to knowledge which they couldn't possibly have in a conventional sense.
I want you to take care of Bruce.
This is exactly what happens when Beth's patient told her to watch out for Bruce, with Bruce being the name of her own father.
What should have been a minor procedure turned into a week-long hospital stay where he had to get multiple units of blood. He was very sick. For the rest of his hospital stay, I didn't leave his side. I listened to the message that was sent to me from the other side. Very shortly after my dad was released from the hospital, I thought that was it. I had listened to the message, I had taken care of my dad. I didn't expect anything else to happen. All of a sudden, I hear a vent alarm, which meant something is going terribly wrong.
All right, let's go, come on.
All the nurses jumped up, rushed into the patient's room. The breathing tube is laying on her chest. This is something really strange. The breathing tube goes from the mouth all the way down to the lungs. The only way it's possible for the breathing tube to come completely out is for you to pull it out. This is impossible because the patient is still sedated.
I'll beg you, call the doctor.
Hey, the doctor, ICU 34, please.
If the breathing tube stays out for too long, the patient can die. This is a life-threatening situation. How did this happen? I had a clear view from my desk at the nurses' station into this room. I knew that no nurses had been in there, no respiratory therapist. There were no visitors. There was nobody in this room with this patient.
How did this happen?
I don't know, maybe she woke up somehow.
This is not normal. This has never happened. While I've been in the ICU, I've never seen this. And also I'm thinking about my patient seeing the little boy, and then my dad being in the hospital, and all the stuff that has happened.
Several minutes later, in the adjacent room,
Let's go.
another patient is in danger.
All of a sudden, we hear ventilator alarms again, and they're coming from the next room down, the next room to the right. The patient's breathing tube was not in her lungs like it should have been.
I'll beg her, you get the bed.
The patient is completely sedated. She's not breathing on her own. She's not moving. There's no reason that her breathing tube should be out. The ER doctor walked into the room.
I have no explanation.
You gotta be kidding me.
And he saw the breathing tube and he said, "You've got to be kidding me."
I have no explanation.
So on the outside, I'm really calm, and I'm the charge nurse, so I didn't want to talk about paranormal things. But now I'm thinking about the little boy. Maybe he's more than just an omen of death, maybe he's the cause of death.
There are very few cases on record of entities killing or seriously injuring people. But in this case, there are some alarming indications that that might be happening. If we try and assess the motives, why would an entity want to do this? It gets even more alarming. This is beyond causing fear, which is what many negative entities do in order to thrive. It starts to look as if this entity is trying to give itself some company. It's trying to kill people and bring them over to its side of reality.
And then I hear from the next room alarms again.
Guys, I hear an alarm. I gotta go.
This is an emergency.
Guys, I need some help over here. You got this?
Yeah.
Guys, I need your help in here. Central line's been pulled out.
There's a pool of blood. His central line has been pulled out. The central line is a large IV that goes into a central vein.
Doctor, we need a doctor in here.
A central line is sutured in. It has stitches holding it to the skin. It's as if someone had pulled it out.
Oh my God.
It looks like it's literally been torn out.
What happened? What happened?
ICU nurse Beth Wilson faces the malevolent spirit of a little boy who is harming her patients.
His central line has been pulled out. We're putting life-saving medication through there.
Doctor, we need a doctor in here.
Blood is just pooling underneath the patient's chest. The patient's blood pressure is dropping. A central line is sutured in. It has stitches holding it to the skin.
It looks like it's literally been torn out.
All right, people, let's work together here. We need 7 cc's of IBU stat.
Someone or something did that to these patients. And I wondered, could it be that little boy? I was terrified. This is a critical situation. The patient could die if they don't have these IV medications. The doctor gets the line in. I get the patient stabilized.
All right, vitals are stable. Things are looking good.
Okay. Nice job, team.
Good.
Yep.
And things start to settle down again. With all 3 of these patients, if we hadn't been there, if we hadn't reacted quickly, these patients would have died within a matter of minutes. So now I'm thinking, maybe this little boy is malevolent. Maybe he was a dark entity that was just taking the form of a child to seem innocuous.
It's possible that this was the spirit of a child that had died in the hospital and was simply drawn to those who were about to pass over to its side of life. But another more disturbing possibility would be that this wasn't a child at all, that this was a darker, malicious, negative entity, and that it was presenting itself as a child for its own purposes. This is one of the most disturbing cases I've ever heard of in my 25 years as a paranormal investigator.
Not too long afterwards, everything had started to settle down. Nothing ever happened. I didn't see anything happening. It was just a normal, average unit. This was the end of the paranormal events. It's really scary to encounter things that you can't explain. I've always been very logical and rational, but things have happened that made me believe that there's something else out there. Because of the events at that hospital, I now firmly believe that the paranormal is real, and that there are spirits that are both light and dark. Some are there to help the patients, some are there to maybe hurt them.
Have these incidents affected the way that you think about your own mortality?
It has made me wonder what will happen after I pass. I hope that when I go, it'll be an angel that takes me over to the other side.